in the Outback could. His own son, Hayden, wasn't interested in the land. The boy dreamt of taking to the skies, but Ilaria, his little firebrand daughter, all blonde curls and coffee skin, who preferred to be known only as Larry, said she was never leaving, and Barnaby believed her. Dust swirled in the distance. Barnaby couldn't be sure if it was a vehicle or a willy-willy stirring up the red dirt, until he saw a glint of silver, a reflection in the sun. There was no one left on the station except him and the kids, so why was there a car in the north paddock? It wasn't somewhere even the dopiest of travellers could lose themselves. There was an old stock route someone might have been mad enough to follow that came out near the top of Lake Eyre. He'd wait for the call on the two-way and rescue whoever it was if necessary, hopefully by road. He'd always been an anxious flyer and preferred not to take the chopper up if he didn't have to. Barnaby shivered despite the heat. For a second it reminded him of that silly saying about someone walking over your grave. He took up Kingy's reins and stepped into the stirrup when the phone in his top pocket rang. Barnaby pulled it out and squinted at the screen. At least these days they had some coverage if the weather was clear and the satellite was pointing in the right direction. There was a name he hadn't seen in a while. He pressed the button and answered. "G'day, Hugh," he said. Chapter 1. Alice-Miranda focused on the long, straight stretch of road. In the distance, she could see something flying towards them. She wondered for a moment if it was a light aircraft, before realising it was an eagle. Another giant bird swooped in from the left across their path, almost touching the bonnet of the four-wheel drive. "Wow!" Millie exclaimed, having just seen the creatures from the back seat. "Was that a pterodactyl?" Alice-Miranda grinned. "I was thinking the same thing." Hugh Kennington-Jones chuckled. "They say everything is bigger in the Outback." Millie grabbed her camera from the seat beside her. She was keen to enter the art and photography competition Miss Grimm had announced just before the holidays. There were great prizes, as well as the opportunity to be exhibited at the opening of the new Fale art space. Professor Winterbottom, the Fale school headmaster, had initiated the idea with Miss Grimm, amid a flurry of excitement and heightened activity in both schools' art rooms. By the time Millie went to take the photograph, though, the birds were too far away. Behind them, Hugh could see the second Land Cruiser in the distance. "How about we stop and have something to eat?" Hugh asked the girls. "There should be a roadhouse coming up. Why don't you let your uncle know that's the plan?" Alice-Miranda picked up the handset from the cradle of the two-way radio and pressed the button on the side. There was a crackle of static. "This is KJ1 calling Ridley 1. Do you copy? Over." They decided on their call signs before setting off from Alice Springs that morning. "Loud and clear, KJ1, Lucas replied. "What can we do for you? Over." "We're taking a break at the Culgera Roadhouse," Alice-Miranda said, having consulted the paper map she had spread out across her lap. "Over." "Gotcha," Lucas replied. "I'm starving and Dad is too. Jacinta's asleep. Can you hear her snoring? Over." There was a pause and the sound of Lucas shuffling around in his seat before the girls' breathy grunts came through the airwaves loud and clear. "Ask him when they picked up the pig," Millie giggled. "That's mean, Lucas and Millie. Over," Alice-Miranda chided, but Millie and Hugh were both laughing. "You'd better not tell her that I did that. She'll never speak to me again." "Over," Lucas said. It was another 10 kilometres before a clump of iron-roofed buildings loomed into view. A stripped-down sedan sat on a concrete plinth out front, a sign for the Culgera Hotel perched in the lidless boot. The tyres and doors of the yellow vehicle were missing, and a 44-gallon drum shored up the rear end so it didn't topple from its perch. "I think that car's seen better days," Alice-Miranda commented as her father pulled up to one of the petrol pumps that sat beneath a tall awning. Lawrence pulled into the one behind. "Sure has," Millie agreed. Hugh stepped out of the car and about 1,000 flies zoomed in. "Come on," Millie said, swatting at the swarm. "Maybe we should put the windows down. Hopefully they'll leave before we have to get back inside." Alice-Miranda jumped down onto the gravel, while Lucas and Jacinta hopped out of the car behind them. Jacinta was yawning and stretching her arms, clearly having just woken up. "How was your nap?" Millie asked Jacinta, who frowned and cast a curious look in Lucas's direction. "Who said I've been asleep?" Jacinta asked.